Hello and welcome to Code with JV. Today I'm going to be building a Discord bot. A nice progression on from once you've learned the basics of programming, you can hit an API. Well, let's start to write a server which continuously interacts with an API. A little bit more complexity and also gives us a bit more utility. I run a private Discord server for students that I'm teaching. Hey, there's a link below if you want to sign up and join the membership. Every time I post a video, I'd like the Discord bot to go in and post a message that the video has been released instead of me having to do it myself. I'm starting a new project. I really like to talk to ChatGPT and just get the general architecture set. Often it will start to give you some good overviews of things, like you'll need to get your YouTube API key, you'll need to create a Discord bot, you'll need to set up your dev environment, and it's gone for JavaScript. Let's code it in Python instead. Here we can see that it is starting to go straight into it, building the bot. If you're doing this for the first time, you could actually go back a few steps and you could start to say, okay, talk me through how to register a Discord bot. You go to the Discord developer and applications, you make a new application. I'm just going to call it HelperBot. Let's give it an image. I'll use the same image I've used for the server. Discord bots have the concept of you can write the bot and then lots of servers can use it. I just want to use it on a single server, so I don't care too much about tags and discoverability. Give it a simple description. If you go to bot here, the main one is authorization flow, public bot. No, I don't want a public. This is just a private bot just for my server. Now I've created a bot. Let's click on the URL generator. And here we're saying, what is this bot allowed to do? So it is a bot. I want it to send messages. I'd also like it to read messages. In the future, I'd like it to do a few more things, but I'll give it those permissions when I want it to. Technically, it doesn't even need to be able to read messages. It's just an announcement bot. This link I can now use to add it to my server. Copy the link, adding it to Code with JV, and this is saying, continue, this bot is allowed to send messages, authorizing the bot. Now HelperBot has been authorized, I've added it. If I jump over to the server, we should see in general, hey look, HelperBot has just shown up. So now I have added the bot to the server. Typically when I'm writing a bot and playing with it, I'll make a private channel. No one else can see, it's just got me in it at the moment. But what I can do, well, we can add in HelperBot, like so. Now HelperBot is in this channel with me. I haven't written any code. I have just set it up so that there is a bot in the server. And now if I use the private token from bot, if I reset this token and get that, that's my API key, which I can use to then control the bot on the server. What we'll do now is let's start to set up our Python environment. Here I have an empty folder. So nothing's in it. I want to do it in Git. If you're not familiar with Git, it's a really good way of tracking your progress as you build something. I've made a previous video about it. You can check out if you like. Git init. Now I have made the folder. Let's change the default branch to main. And I won't do an initial commit. I'll get a bot working and then make that my first commit. I've now enabled it with Git. Let's open up VS Code. Here, let's make a new file, bot.py. And this is where I'll put the Python code I'm wanting to do. Let's jump back and see what sort of code it's given us. It's suggesting we're going to need Discord, we're going to need Google API Python. Often when I get a first script from ChatGPT, I won't just roll with it. I'll start to think about, well, there's no way I'm going to be putting my tokens and API keys in the code itself. So I'll ask it to use .env, and now it's updating the things that I need to use. It is also broken up the Python script in a bunch of different things, like so. I like that more. It's going straight into the bot and the events and checking for new videos every 1 minute. I'm going to take a baby step. Instead of going straight towards the checking YouTube videos, I just want to get a Hello World bot going. I love that I can just say, please remove the YouTube stuff, and it knows what I mean. It's logging in, it's ready to receive messages. When it receives a message, it is responding back with a hello world. One of the things that I'd notice here, this Discord token, if that doesn't exist, it's not going to be very happy. So often I'd do a bit of defensive programming in there. Whenever I'm writing a script and it's like, what does this script need to work properly? It's nice just to put in a check so that you can catch errors a bit earlier. Paste that in. And I haven't yet installed the libraries for Discord and .env. We can just use a virtual environment. Python -env. This creates an env folder for us, which is a way of putting all the Python packages in a single spot. It's giving us a tip here. So yes, you can do that, but I'll actually show you how I would activate the package over the command line as well, in case you're not using VS Code. And here, source. In the N folder, there's a bin package with activate. Now you'll see the little env. I have now activated that package for the terminal. That means if I do a pip install, it is going to just install things for this local project here. And if I'm using different discords or different .envs, etc., in other projects, they won't overlap with each other. Using virtual environments just makes your life a ton easier as you build more and more little projects. We've got an old version of pip. Might as well just solve that too. Whoops. Incorrect copy and paste. Often when I'm installing packages, it's good just to freeze your packages like so. Typically in Python projects, you'll see these are the actual packages that you need for this code to work. We have got that. Now, I have not yet set up my environment variables. I'm going to go new file. And in here, I would make sure that I am using the appropriate name. Let's call it Discord token equals, and you get your token by this reset token. And I'll do that off screen. All right, so I've saved the token into .env under Discord token. Often what I would do at this stage is, oh, I've got a bunch of stuff I haven't committed yet. I haven't even run the code, but I will set up a .gitignore file just so I don't forget in the future. And then I have to clean up Git history and all sorts of things. I don't want the .env file. I don't want the N folder, Git status. You'll see VS Code turn them gray saying they're being ignored. Bot requirements gitignore. If the bot.py works, this is the thing I will commit into the first commit. Let's have a look at this code before we run it. We're getting the Discord token. We're checking if it exists. We're making a new client. And when it's ready, it says it's logging in. It's ready to receive messages. If it receives a message, then it is sending a hello world in the same channel that it received the message. There's a few things that's wrong with this, but let's just run it and see what happens. Python bot.py. So I find that this missing intents is really common from ChatGPT. It doesn't do this off the bat. And what you need to do is when you're setting up your bot, you need to say, hey, what permissions are you asking for? What's your intention as a bot? I will copy this. It can figure it out once you tell it that's the error message. I'll just paste it in. And it will typically, okay, sorry, I forgot. We're getting the token, we're doing things. Oh, now I want the intents. You can see ChatGPT wasn't clever enough to say, well, all of this is about sending and receiving messages. I might need to ask for the messaging intents as well. It's easy to mistake intelligence in ChatGPT. It gives the appearance of intelligence, but it doesn't really understand what's going on here. And so if I get just this section here, paste, those are the intents we want, like so. And now we've got the intents. Now these intents needs to be imported. And you'll see that here it is now getting the intents from Discord. Okay, let us go clear this. It's logging in. Okay, logged in as helper bot, ready to receive messages. So we've hit the onReady command here. Does the onMessage command work? If I jump over to Discord, I'm mentioning it in a channel so I could get its name quickly. And here, send a test message. And here we can see it's responding with hello world. If we read this code here, when it receives a message, if it wrote the message, then it doesn't do anything. But if the content says hello, it's saying hello world back. So bot's alive, it's responding to me. I've set it up so it's got DMs going, which is a good enough for now. I think what I will do now is I'm just going to get this committed because I've got a starting point. Before I commit something, git status. And yep, it's not committing the .env or my environment. And now, clear mind, hello world's going, what's the next step? What I would like it to do is when it sees a new video on YouTube, it posts it up. So the rest of this feature is plug into Google, get YouTube videos as they're released. There's a few interesting things in that process, such as that API doesn't really give you a feed saying, hey, here's a message, you've published a new video. You have to just keep checking it like every 1 minute or 5 minutes or 20 minutes or what you want. This is called polling. If you keep asking YouTube, what's your latest video, then you can compare that to the one you published last. What I'll do now is let's just see what code we need to write to get the Discord bot to post into a test channel. And finally, at the end of this, when I make it go live, I'll switch that channel over to the announcements channel where I post all my video announcements. One of the things you can do in Discord under App Settings Advanced, turn on developer mode. If you do this, you can do things like getting channel IDs. So if I go up here and go test, I can go copy channel ID, and I can use that for telling Discord to post in that place. I'd like to change this code on ready, test channel, okay, replace with your channel ID, and get the channel post hello world. So we'll start to do this on ready, and you don't really need this one here anymore. So if we jump back to here, okay, like so. Now this, I'm going to go and extract it up the top. Now I might actually say announcement channel, like so. And that means that it's still in the .env file. And even though this isn't particularly sensitive information, I put it in the .env so that all the configuration parameters are in the same spot, which means if I want to use this code and set up on a server, I don't have to go and change the code. I can just pull down the code, configure everything with environment variables, and control how it will behave. I'm just going to use the ID I got from the test channel in that setup there. I've updated the .env, and now I'm just going to put a similar one here, like so. I don't really care about this event stuff here anymore because this is an announcement bot. I don't want to message it or talk to it, at least not yet anyway. Okay, so this should post into the test channel ID with hello world whenever it starts. Jump over here, test channel. Now it looks like this channel wasn't received properly. So what I'll do is go to ChatGPT. Maybe I messed something up in the code which I can't see, and I will do this. Here's my code. Here's the error message. Tell me what's going on. And test channel is set to none. Make sure you've got the correct channel. Does the bot have permissions to send messages in the target channel? Here it is casting the announcement channel to an int, and here it is passing it down as a string. When it rewrote the debugging code for me, it switched that int in there. And we jump over to this, hello world. So it's correctly writing to a channel. All my permissions were fine. It is just when I was getting the channel, it needs to be cast from a string to an int. That's a change. I would call that, will I save this? Not really, because it's not a useful feature. It's just a stepping stone. So now I would start to say, okay, how do I get it to post the link to my most recent YouTube channel, which is going to involve getting a developer API key for Google. Can't remember how to do that. Quite a simple question. It will start to walk me through, and particularly things like what's the link of where to go to, I find quite useful. Create a new project, give it a name, ask for the permissions you want, such as I want YouTube data, enable the API, and getting your credentials set up, etc. Okay, so copy and paste the API key, drop it into my .env, and now again, giving ChatGPT a fairly high-level command, like please, instead of doing hello world, post the URL to the most recent YouTube video on ready. Okay, YouTube, developer key. It is listing the channels, videos, getting the right one, URL, await announcement channel, send new video published there. Okay, so this is starting to look correctish. I'm going to go and grab the YouTube channel ID, drop it into my .env and see how we go. I have pasted in all the environment variables and okay, Google API Python client. And because I have installed new libraries, I'm also going to regenerate my requirements file. Notice I did the single arrow. I'm not appending, I'm overwriting everything. And we can see a bunch more libraries that it needs for everything to work now. Here, and look at that. Here's the new video, which is snapshot number 3. So it has found the most recent video. When I connect to the server, it goes and posts it. So I feel like we're getting another step towards the functionality I want, which is whenever a new video comes up, it will notice that video has come up and it will post it. I'm going to save this because it's a step in the right direction. It's still only posting my test channel. It hasn't bothered any of my users. Let's go and save our progress so far. Not my final functionality, but it's a stepping stone. Okay, now what I want to do is let's save the most recent URL. And then whenever it checks, if that URL is different, then it can go and post a message. High-level instructions to ChatGPT will probably get us there. This is a bit of a procedural thing to write, a bit of a mouthful or a handful. So what I'm going to do is think through what's the algorithm I want it to do. Now what I'm getting it to do is I'm using a file to store the state. And I could do this in a bunch of different ways with a database or whatnot, but keeping it simple, it's looking in this, it's seeing the data, it's saving it in there. If videos get the latest, if not is same URL. And okay, so it's starting to do the logic. And again, that would have taken me a bit of time to type out, but it took me less time to think it and then give it to ChatGPT. When I run this, what do I expect to happen? Well, I expect the first time I run it, that it's gonna hit the URL, get the video, post it, and save it to the file. And here we can see second time it's pasted it. But I also would have expected it to make a most recent URL file. Looks like it has. Here is the URL in it. And now if I run it again, I'd expect it not to post that one. And now I can see there is only 2 in here. So it is correctly not posted it because the URL is the same, which means if this script runs periodically, it will start to do what I want. I can also do a step in here, which is, hey, run, and just keep hitting YouTube every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you want. So that would be the final approach I will do. I won't bother saving this step. What I'll do here is let's just go for a home run. How often do I want to do this? Well, I don't post videos very often, and if it's a bit late, that's fine. So 15 minutes. This is where, because I've already done this saving the file step, I don't need to instruct it. I should remember that here. If we look at this, check new video, that's a function. It is same URL, on ready, it calls await, check new video, while true, sleep. That's okay because this bot only does one thing, and I think that's good enough for me now, which means if I run this on my local computer, then it should just keep going and doing this. If I wanted to have this off my local computer, well, I'd deploy it to a server, but that's a topic for another day. Let's just confirm that this code here works. I'm going to change this minutes 15. Let's change it to 15 seconds because I don't want to wait for 15 minutes to see if this thing is working. Time delta, 15 seconds, Python bot. It should go, hey, that URL is, okay, it's posted it because the URL wasn't there. Let's jump to our other window. I've deleted it. Checking, okay, so I'm pretty confident that that's going to work and that every 15 seconds it will do it. So let's change this back to 15 minutes. Like so. Also, I'm going to keep the most recent URL in the state just so that when I deploy it up for the first time, it is not going to go, it's going to know which the most recent URL was and update it there. Not the most elegant way of doing it. I could do that a bit better, but it's good enough for now. Now, the final thing to make it live is if I switch my channel over to the announcements channel, then it will be posting there rather than test. So I'm calling that job done. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about making Discord bots, a little bit about interacting with 2 APIs in the same file, and a little bit more about Python development. Feel free to make requests for more videos you'd like to see. I've got a list that I'm working through, but hey, it's the people who comment on this video and talk to me in the Discord channel who get to choose what comes next. Codewithjv.com/newsletter if you want to get the weekly snapshot, and happy coding.